What's going on, guys? TG or ThunderGod here. Got a pretty interesting video. Today I'm going to be taking the peak human from the Dragon Ball series. Wait, bro isn't even. Hold up. I'm going to be taking one of the strongest humans. No, he's not that either. Where's bro's PR team? Today I'm going to be looking at Mr. Satan or Hercule, the world champion in Dragon Ball, and seeing how far he would get in Baki. Is this like average fighter in Dragon Ball just gonna slam through and solo the entirety of the verse? I don't know. Let's talk about it.
Don't you worry about me. I'm a master of martial arts and I'm also packing some serious heat.
Before we get into today's video, I want to take a moment to discuss Zen Market, the most trusted Japanese shopping proxy service out right now. This is my go-to for safe checkout through Japanese stores. I use it personally for Amazon Japan, with Zen Market being usable for more than 10,000 Japanese online stores. Purchase anime merchandise from stores such as Jump Shop, Mercari, or any other Japanese sites through Zen Market. Simply copy the item link and paste it into the Zen Market search bar to shop from stores not integrated into the Zen Market website. Zen Market makes sure that items are well packed and well consolidated, along with no consolidation fees, for up to 60 days of storage. Account registration is free, along with 750 Zen points gifted to new members who use promo code ThunderGod. Zen points can be used as yen off international shipping fees, with 1 Zen point equaling 1 yen, giving you essentially 750 yen free. Check out Zen Market today. Starting off, we need to establish a bit of scaling for Mr. Satan and just straight up compare that to a lot of the stuff in the Bakiverse. Starting with speed, some of Mr. Satan's better feats are among him dodging and outracing missiles. These weapons obviously aren't standard issue in Dragon Ball, but let's just say, for example, use an RPG-7. The most widely used anti-armor weapon in the world, currently around 40 countries are using the weapon, which has a top speed of 294 meters per second, or, 657 miles per hour. Now, this is obviously not an exact measurement, as this isn't a 1-to-1, but it does give us a decent idea. Mr. Satan's more than likely around the Mach 1 range, which Mach 1 being 767.269 miles per hour, essentially allows a little wiggle room, even if this isn't the exact model or speed of the rocket launcher. It also doesn't really change anything if you have it like, 800 miles per hour or just above the Mach 1 range, like maybe even diving to Mach 2. It doesn't really change anything about the discussion, so you can even be more generous, but just figured I'd give us a baseline. It would also be consistent that Mr. Satan isn't massively above this speed, as he also did just die to a handgun. The exact model of the handgun is near impossible to say, but handguns can range from 600, 800 to, even if you have like a 500 SNW mag, 1,300 miles per hour. So again, he's in the correct speed range here. If you kind of want to wiggle him around, that's fine, but this is generally where he lies. The only higher metas you can maybe argue for Mr. Satan in terms of speed is if you take him dodging Kid Boo's attacks hyper literally, which was extended by the anime. Considering Mr. Satan, again, just gets hit by bullets, so either like Kid Buu is bullet speed, or this is just one of those things Toriyama wasn't really thinking about logistics-wise, which does happen a bit in Dragon Ball. An example being when Goku and Gas are using instant transmission to fly around like over the universe from planet to planet, and like Gas can't dodge a truck dumping garbage on him. Like, is he that slow? No, obviously not. The Dragon Ball metas are insanely fast. So clearly you wouldn't want to take these outliers. It's more the consistent stuff that you would generally take. And I'll even touch on like why Mr. Satan being that fast may not even give him an inherent win. Barring the Kid Buu stuff, comparing this to Baki, Katsumi was able to deliver a Mach punch, and this was just outright stated to be a Mach speed punch even as far back as Grappler Baki, with pretty much all of the main cast, aside from a few exceptions like Hanayama, being in a constant state of improvement, with Katsumi himself improving upon this technique. It essentially makes it very easy for a lot of Baki characters to just outright surpass like this transonic speed or like this Mach 1 speed that Hercule kind of stands around. Even feats like Mr. Satan just beating up casual humans and like blitzing them at close quarters, just moving too fast for them to counterattack, isn't really that outlandish for Baki characters. Like, that's very consistent. And a lot of Baki characters actually have better feats where even from long distances, they can just move faster than the average eye can see. There's many calcs backing this up. Yujiro does it against some policemen. Baki does it many times in the series. For example, some against some high schoolers. It's nothing too crazy on that front. So from a speed category, literally the way I want you to envision is that the entire Bakiverse is just like kind of similar to Dragon Ball, where they're always training and getting stronger. And from like a pre-time skip, they're kind of using Mr. Satan as like a benchmark and just improve off that. There's even examples of Baki kind of performing similar feats where he's just dodging bullets. Now, that doesn't mean like, oh, he's just, outright faster than the bullets. But there is a panel where 3 people are just armed and looking at him. They fire the shot and Baki's gone. So if you even want to argue like Baki just aim dodged, he just completely disappeared. And it's still more of an impressive feat than Mr. Satan, who just kind of died close quarters. But again, doesn't really matter. Baki characters just scale up from this massively. Not even discussing calcs calcs or anything of the nature, which there are a multitude of Baki calcs that just put them easily in the Mach 30 range, which is far above what Mr. Satan would be at. Again, potentially barring the Kid Buu stuff, which if you take hyper literally, he's just going to be blitzing the entirety of the Bakiverse. But again, I will talk about why that doesn't necessarily change too much in a second. Let's talk about strength and durability, because this also matters quite a bit. A very consistent range for Mr. Satan is just wall level. This is consistent with a lot of attacks he gets hit by, you know, casually getting slapped by Kid Trunks. A lot of people might quote him surviving Perfect Cell's hit, but a good example of how you can view somebody like Mr. Satan and compare him to somebody like Yujiro is based on their respective Kawara smashes, which for anyone who's unfamiliar is a way of testing your martial arts by smashing tiles. This being a straining activity for Mr. Satan, who smashes a measly 10, could be a couple more if you argue, you know, some of them are off screen or anything like that, compared to Yujiro, who casually smashes 40. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's night and day. It's a much more casual feat. The only way is if you argue, like, maybe the tiles are different density or the different sort of tiles, but just assuming they're similar, it's a way more impressive feat for Yujiro and should give you kind of an idea of what we're dealing with. This being base Yujiro and a casual feat, again, in most of the high tiers in Baki, like Pickle, Baki, Musashi, and like other juggernauts who can contend on a physical level, are performing and just scaling to these type of feats casually. And this is even getting up into like some of the crazier stuff for Baki. For example, like Yujiro just shaking an entire building with his aura alone, which has been calced way beyond like the wall level that Mr. Satan has kind of exhibited with no real higher ends in sight. Even if you looked at feats like Hercule pulling 4 buses, physical juggernauts in Baki can just survive getting rammed into by trucks and just break them or just slice them in two casually. So, and this is just pure lifting strength. There's like, which isn't even that crazy in the context of Baki, as you have someone like Oliva who has a workout plan of just pulling a helicopter down while it's in the air resisting him. You know what I'm saying? Like, even this feat isn't that crazy. They're just performing far better strength feats. This, again, being mainly the top tiers. And this is a problem for Mr. Satan because a lot of Baki characters, again, mainly the top tiers, are just going to be outright too durable for him to even damage. So you have characters like Pickle, for example, who was just shot 3 times, like, at his chest and was fine. Like, he's, like, minorly bleeding. This being base Pickle and not his, like, evolution form where he's, like, showing, like, the T-Rex scar, which is a durability amp versus Guy who just dies to bullets. Or characters like Oliva just tanking a shotgun blast, and even though he's bleeding, like, it just didn't pierce his muscles. Like, he's still bleeding, but it just didn't penetrate his muscles in any deep capacity. So from a speed perspective, again, unless you're taking, like, Mr. Satan's higher end durability and, you know, speed feats off Kid Buu and Perfect Cell, he's kind of coming in lacking versus the Bakiverse. He's gonna be a little slower, not really able to damage them that well. And you could argue, like, okay, maybe I'm like kind of being disingenuous to Mr. Satan, like Baki universe has anti-feats too, like Yujiro getting hit with like tranquilizers. Well, the thing you need to understand is that characters like Yujiro are just noted to be improving every day and growing stronger. So even if you took that feat at face value, current Yujiro just wouldn't scale to it. It'd be like taking, you know, Saiyan Saga Goku and comparing that to like Frieza Saga Goku and using his feats there over there. Like it obviously wouldn't make sense, as that's a stronger version of the character. And Yujiro being able to stay the pinnacle of his verse by light years with every character undergoing constant improvement themselves, just like the Z Fighters, again, pretty compelling stuff. What about Mr. Satan's techniques? Does he really have anything that would be threatening in this universe? Not really is the answer. He has a few notable techniques mentioned in Daizenshu. He has the Dynamite Kick, a technique where Mr. Satan dashes forward and nails his opponent with an intense jump kick. The Satan Punch, it's his signature move, which is noted to be an ordinary punch, preceded by him like shouting Satan Punch. The Dynamic Mess Him Up Punch, he starts the attack by stepping far back, then rushing his opponent as fast as he can, directly punching his opponent right between their eyes. Nothing here, like noted, is anything threatening to the Bakiverse, which, barring the stat stuff, if you are in a relative range to characters like Yujiro, Baki, Pickle, high tiers, or even like a lot of mid tiers, it just doesn't really work because this is a verse where like every martial art is shown. You have characters like Yujiro who can just visually slow down every attack to like as slow as he wants. Or the use of durability negating moves like the Benda or Whip Strike that can be used on characters with even higher durability. You have characters constantly refining fighting styles like Muhammad Ali Jr. refining his father's style and pretty much perfecting it. Along with characters like Yujiro who know like every martial art, even like ones that aren't as publicly known. Characters like Baki and Yujiro can just copy martial arts after seeing them once or after a very short time. This kind of extends to Pickle as well. Each character pretty much has like a unique fighting style. Characters like Kakukai who have decades decades upon decades of martial arts experience. Characters like Jack Hanma, who like created a new fighting style like based around biting. So these characters have all these like different ways of fighting. Like I would not be able to sit here and go through each martial art that's presented in Baki or each technique, as I would be sitting here all day. But the stuff Mr. Satan has is just not going to be that crazy for the verse. He's actually like one of those characters that would be used to hype up other characters in the show, ironically. Like, oh, this world champion, that's nothing. That's light work. Characters can use attacks like Shiori in order to induce damage reduction. This is the best way I could put it, right? Goku's obviously like a martial arts genius. He's insane. He's cracked. Everybody was kind of going crazy when he was doing the 1-inch punch versus Frieza. It was very cool. That's like a casual thing to a character like Retsukayo. And that's very like, Retsukayo is like a mid-tier Baki character, you know what I'm saying? This isn't really that crazy of a technique. So look at it like this. Mid-tier characters are doing what's perceived as like high skill by Goku. You know what I'm saying? And how that would compare to Mr. Satan. So you have Yujiro and people who scale to him and are comparable. Yujiro being the guy who's just like above the entirety of the US in military technology. Potentially even having missiles dropped on him. You have Pickle, who has, you know, been argued to have survived the meteor that, you know, destroyed the dinosaurs. There's just a lot of crazier arguments you could generally make for Baki that are a bit more consistent. And again, I didn't even address like demon back multipliers or how a lot of characters just have like stronger forms or anything to that degree. So just pretty standard stuff for Bakiverse. So does Yujiro solo Baki? No, not really. His stats, again, off of like the outliers, doesn't really give him any edge, and his techniques are just lackluster in general. That's the vid. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Bye.